Oh, hi. If you've been with the channel for a while, you might be aware that we do a yearly Halloween special. Big plans to take you out to this unsanctioned graveyard that we discovered that was really cool. But unfortunately, we're being hit with what's being called an atmospheric river. It's been some kind of off and on typhoon for the last couple of days. It's kind of kept us inside, cozy, lazy, and warm, and we even picked up this to bring to the graveyard. And our composer, O.Marcus, put together some pretty sweet Halloween beats. So we have to bring you something. Let's start this off with a fire. So in keeping with staying cozy, lazy, and warm, we bring you campfire stories of Western Canada. The Headless Ghost. An old prospector, bitter and twisted from many years of searching and just as many years of failure, finally struck the mother lode. The gold was his, all his. The old man was well provisioned and stayed by the claim for weeks while he figured out how to best protect his newfound wealth. He certainly didn't want anyone else to find out about it, and so he decided he would just homestead right there by the vein of gold and bring out small amounts of ore every once in a while so no one would suspect the bonanza he'd discovered. The man's plan worked well enough for a time, but the isolation began to warp his mind even more. He began to question if he had really even found riches at all, considering that his cachet had forced him into the life of a hermit. Hoping to counter the loneliness, the old prospector began venturing further and further away from the rudimentary campsite he had set up for himself. These little jaunts of his certainly seemed secure enough because his location was so remote that he never saw another human being. Unfortunately, this also meant that he still didn't even have any other human interaction. Until, that is, he noticed a stranger fording a nearby river and coming his way. Terrified that he might lose his cherished cachet, the prospector took careful aim with his hunting rifle and shot the intruder cleanly through the chest. Now the prospector had an even more serious problem. What if the dead man's friends came searching for the companion and started looking into other matters in these parts that were none of anyone else's business? The prospector couldn't risk forfeiting the stash. What should he do? The dead man's body was too heavy for him to move and hide in the underbush. So perhaps he could just cut off the head and throw it away? No one would recognize the remains? Neither the murder nor the dismemberment did anything positive for the prospector's mental health. Although, for a few days, all was quiet. Then, as the nearly madman feared, friends of the deceased came looking for him. Despite the head being missing, they recognized the headless body by the clothes and carried the remains into town for proper burial. But not surprisingly, the dead man did not rest in peace, for it's said that when conditions are just right, a headless ghost wanders the area, searching, in no doubt, for his head. And what of the mad, wealthy prospector turned murderer? They say his body was found the following spring, lying in his lean-to. And the gold? There wasn't any. Never was. That prospector, like many others, had lost his sanity a good many years before to the most fatal and incurable of West Coast diseases, the gold rush fever. Hopefully his soul is resting in peace somewhere. A headless ghost is enough of an ethereal population for any given area. Well, kids, I hope you enjoyed the story, and if you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Share it to all your friends. And big thank you to Barbara Smith for writing the story. In the meantime, have fun out there, but a good, safe, and happy Halloween. Avoid apples and razor blades. Know your exits, and carry a good book.
I'd like you to meet Bill Miner, famous train robber. He was the first bandit to say, "Hands up." In 1906, though, things went wrong. Yeah, just east of Kamloops, the Imperial Limited headed for Vancouver. "Hands up," says Miner and his friends to the engineer. Take the engine and that car up the track. They took the wrong car. This was the baggage car, not the express car. All they could find was some liver pills. Soon after, a police posse took after them. "Who are you?" the sergeant asks. "Prospector," says Bill Miner. But one of his friends panicked. "Get out, boys," he says. "It's all up." The police found a gun and a bottle of liver pills. "Hands up," says the sergeant. "Hands up."